Hello fellow dreamers. So last night's dream is pretty interesting. Football game going on right now, and we live like 2 blocks from the football field, so it's really loud. I don't remember exactly how it started, but something about it made it so I was finally able to get another horse, and I was so excited. My mom drove me an hour to this horse barn that I've dreamt about before. It's not a real life barn, but I've had a few dreams about it, and it's this huge thoroughbred breeding / racing farm, and every time I've went, I've tried to find, there's this one horse I love called Unbridled Express, and I always love all of his offspring. He usually throws like steel grays, and they're beautiful, and I love them. I used to work at a racetrack, and I absolutely fell in love with one of them. Well, actually, I loved all of them, really, but there was one in particular that I fell in love with. I went there, and I was, like, looking for him and his offspring, and I was hoping the horse that I really wanted was there for sale, because it's this big board, and I went up to it, and I looked at it. It had a lot of the horses' names, and I looked at it, and then I went to this section, which was the section where they kept his offspring, usually in the other dreams, but I didn't see him. There was a lot of really pretty horses that I was thinking about, but in all my dreams I have this friend that lives in a house nearby, and I usually just go visit him, and then we sneak over to the farm. And well, I guess it's not sneaking because it's his family's farm, but yeah, so I was visiting him, and he had a friend come over, and it was this really cute Indian guy, and well, he was like okay, like he wasn't like drop dead gorgeous or anything, but he wasn't ugly, and I was like, oh, he's kind of cute. I found out that he had like some horses there, and I was like, cool. And then we were gonna go to his house to look at his farm, and it was kind of awkward on the way over there because my mom had drove me and dropped me off, so I didn't have a car, so he drove me, and I like barely knew him, and it was just the two of us in a car together. So we went over to his farm, and it was so cool, and we went into this like kind of like a garage is on a normal house, but it was more like a barn than a garage. And when you go in there, there's like hundreds of baby farm animals. Like there was like any kind of farm or farm adjacent animal you can think of was in there. It was funny too because the baby chicks weren't like chicks. They were like literally the size of chicks, but like looked like full grown chickens. Then there was baby rabbits, and there was some calves of like different kinds of cattle, and like dairy and beef, and then there was like a bison and some fawns, like baby deer fawns, and some puppies and kittens and foals and kids, which are baby goats. Literally anything remotely related to a farm you could think of, they had there. And there was like hundreds, and it was so cool. And then having a hard time breathing, and it was weird, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know why, but I was super excited. I was like, I think I'm allergic to something in here, and I was like, my first allergy, because I'm not allergic to anything, so I was kind of excited about my first allergy, but at the same time it was like sucked. So I had to go into the house, and the house was really weird, but his little brother came in there, and he was like excited for us to be together or whatever, I guess. But and then I went back into the house while they like talked or something, I don't know, but and I saw this baby in like one of those little baby crates, playpen, I don't know, but anyway, it's like a baby cage without a top on it. I went over to see it, and I'm not like a baby person, obviously, but I was like, well, bored, so I thought, oh, I'll go over and see the baby, but it was like right next to the bed, so I had to climb onto the bed to see it, and I was like, hi, and it like waddled over, and then it kept looking over at something, and I was like, what is it looking at? Finally I looked, and I could see just eyes open, and I was like, oh my gosh, what the hell? I jumped off, and it was like the dude's like dad, but like he was like a grandpa kind of, and he was like sleeping like I think naked or maybe underwear on, and he's like, do you always just climb into random people's beds? And I was like, no, and I was like freaking out, and then he thought it was kind of funny, but I was like freaking out. And then I was sitting there waiting on him, and their farm, I forgot to mention, their farm was huge, like probably 100 or more, at least 100 acres. Like, it was huge, and had all kinds of different livestock, obviously because the babies. But so then I like text my mom, and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna stay the night. And she was like, you're freaking out because she didn't want me to stay the night with people I'd just met. But I was like, it's okay, I'm gonna marry him. But I didn't bring like any overnight clothes or any of my medicine or anything, so I was kind of worried about that. But like, his mom came out, and she was like, said they were going like to a wedding the next day, and she's like, oh, I'll have someone come over and like fit you for a dress. And I was like, okay. And I was like so excited because I've never been fitted for anything, and but I was also really nervous. Yeah, so that was really cool. And I don't remember, it kind of jumped ahead. I had gotten a horse that I wanted, and I was practicing in a field. We had set up some like cross country jumps, and we were just like kind of practicing. And then we kind of had it wasn't a racetrack, but it was kind of shaped like a racetrack. So I just like, when we were done, I just ran it to condition the horse more. And it was like snowing, really cold, and I was like, we should build an arena, because at this point we were like together. I don't know if we were married though. I think we were. You kind of like just jumped ahead. But we went to put the horse away, and there was like, I think 4 empty stalls, maybe 5, that they cleared for me to have my horses in. And I mean, I only had one at the time, but and then there was a Clydesdale one. He was like, surprise, I got you a Clydesdale. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. And he would like explained what it was for or something, and I was like, oh, cool. And so then I put the horse in the stall, and something weird was going on. I can't remember what, but we went to like check it out, and then when we did, the horse got like loose, because it had like a run-in, it was like a run-in stall, and the run, like, I guess wasn't completed or something, so he got loose. And I finally got her back into the stall. I think it was a he. Anyway, we went, I was walking around kind of exploring the barn, and I guess the little brother's bedroom was in the barn, and it was pretty big, and I was like, you want to switch us bedrooms so that way I'm closer to the horses? And he was like, yeah. So we did that, and then there was like a lot of stairs, which is weird. Like, there was like 6 staircases, and they all went to like different weird places. But there was this like giant front room, and it kind of had like a kitchen, and I was like, oh, we should totally turn this into like, add a bathroom and a living room and make it like a little apartment. And he was like, yeah, and we were so excited about doing that. But I think that's the last thing I remember. Yeah, so it was a pretty good dream all in all. I feel like I'm skipping something, but remember it, I'll record it later. Until then, keep on dreaming, dreamers.